Thinking about leaving your soul-sucking 9 to 5 job, one of the biggest struggles I see people, especially as women, face is the idea of having that safety net, that enticing perks and benefits, and listening to that head trash of what will people think if I leave. I totally get it, and I've been where you are. That's why I created a free guide to help you if you're thinking about putting in that notice. It's called Unlocking Your Exit Plan. Discover 5 things you need to do before leaving your 9 to 5. This guide is filled with worksheets and steps so you will have hand holding along the way. You can download your copy in the link in the show notes, and again, it's totally free. Now back to today's episode. Hey there, let's face it, today's internet world is so saturated and everyone is fighting for that number one spot to be visible. It is no longer about running ads and having thousands of people on your email list. It is about building relationships and networking with others to grow your business and become visible. Hi, my name is Candace. I'm a podcast launch strategist and I help service-based business owners develop and deliver their message to the world by using platforms like podcasting and bringing valuable content to those who need to hear what they have to say. Welcome to the Hello C.S. Dorsey podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the Hello C.S. Dorsey podcast. I have Emee Estacio here from Self-Publishing Made Simple. How are you doing today?
I'm awesome. Thank you very much for having me, Candice. It's great to be here.
Yay, thank you. I'm so happy to have you on. So could you tell everyone who you are and what you do?
Yes, of course. Well, my name is Emee. Hi, everyone. I'm a 3-time number one best-selling author, psychologist, and self-publishing coach. And I help successful entrepreneurs, coaches, and visionaries turn their passion into a number one best-selling book on Amazon.
Wow. I love it. Yes, we're going to have lots to talk about today.
Yeah.
So first, let's actually talk about the inspiration behind starting your business. What was that like for you?
Well, I have to say it wasn't really an easy start. It was almost like a wake-up call. I used to be a university lecturer, and I've been in academia for most of my life, really, for over 20 years. I trained to become a university lecturer in psychology and just really climbed the academic ladder. And to be perfectly honest with you, that was the trajectory that I was heading towards until I gave birth to my son. And for all the mamas listening to this podcast, I'm sure you can relate that when you give birth to your child, you sort of shift your priorities and you change your perspective in life. And for me, it was, first of all, I did experience postnatal depression. So that actually didn't make things easy for me. But it's almost as if I had that moment where, look, I'm going into this trajectory. I'm not really sure if it's fulfilling me anymore. And the time that is being taken away from me, from my child by going to this role, I didn't feel as if it was fulfilling enough to be away from my son. So I had to really dig deep into what I want to do with my life and how I want to spend my time and my skills and really what to do with my with my time. So that's when I started exploring what I could do so I could gain more autonomy and control over my time. And that's when I started thinking about setting up my business. And I have to say, I explored what was familiar to me. And as an academic, I'm used to writing. You know, I've been traditionally published before, and I still am. I would write textbooks, research papers, and so on. But I did explore writing self-help books, to try to share what I know in psychology. And I thought, okay, if I want to publish self-help books, the best way to reach my audience is through self-publishing. Because I know that if I traditionally publish my books, it's going to take about a year and a half, 2 years to get that out into the marketplace. So I explored self-publishing. I did self-publish my books. And, it got me to number one bestseller. Every time I launched, I got to number one bestseller. And people started asking me how I did it. And that's actually where I am now, because it was never really my intention to become a self-publishing coach, to become a self-publishing launch strategist. But that's where life took me. That's where people reached out to me and asked me for my help. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing now. And then I absolutely love it, helping all those entrepreneurs, particularly those heart-centered entrepreneurs who really want to make a difference in this world. I help them to get their message out and to make sure that their books actually make it on Amazon and compete well in that particular marketplace.
I love how you have a different form or different way of helping other aspiring authors, coaches, or business owners get their message out there. So, like for me, it's audio, it's podcasting, but a lot of people don't realize that you can get your message out by writing a book or publishing a book. And the first thing people think, when you say, "Won't you write a book?" is, "Oh, it's going to take me 2 years." When actually, no, because I've seen some books that only have I want to say 50 to 60 pages. And I was like, is that realistic? Like, after I published my book, I was like, here it is. I have 250 pages. And we have people self-publishing books or mini books or whatever you want to call it with 50 pages. And I'm like, hey, they cheated.
Well, I have to say, Candice, for those self-published authors who actually write those kinds of books, they understand actually the market. They understand that, especially for Amazon and Kindle readers, they want bite-sized information, especially for nonfiction books. People are looking for solutions, very specific solutions to very specific problems. And the last thing they'd want to do is to read an encyclopedia to solve a simple question. So it's when you have a nonfiction book that offers a practical solution, bite-sized books, particularly shorter books, actually do well on Amazon. And it's a matter of positioning your book well, understanding what your market is looking for, and delivering a practical solution to the problems that they want to solve. And for some of my students, I actually do encourage them to publish a series of books, because that is a way that you could trigger the Amazon algorithm so your book becomes more visible on there. And yeah, people will be able to find your book more easily. And if you are able to identify the problems that they need a solution for, you could position your book in that way and frame it in a way that would be enticing to the readers. And even if it is, let's say, okay, 50 pages is actually quite brief, but if you make it around 75 to 100 pages, it's about 15,000 words in terms of word count. It would take a reader an hour and a half to 2 hours to read. That is really easily digestible. You can easily read it, digest it, and make it applicable in your life and make use of it after reading it. So yeah, I mean, for self-published books that are bite-sized chunks, and especially when it is published as a series, it gives the readers the opportunity to handpick what they really are looking for and to be able to use the information that they read immediately, be practical and use it in their lives.
Wow. You made me want to write another book now.
I have to say, Candice, writing a book is a really great way to connect with your audience, to reach your audience. And, for this podcast that we are doing now, it's a really great way to build your brand, to establish yourself as an expert in your field. And when you do it right, when you position yourself well on Amazon, if you know how to do your keyword research, your market research, have a launch strategy, and trigger that Amazon algorithm, you would be tapping into a market of warm leads. For business owners who are listening to this, it's a really great way to generate warm leads into your business, because when you write a book, you're reaching to a person who's looking for a solution. They buy your book. And when they buy your book, it's almost as if you have this personal connection with them. It's almost as if they can already hear your voice. They can get a sense of your character, especially when you really pour your heart and your soul and you speak with your own voice in your book. And when people actually like what you're talking about, you'll be generating warm leads into your business. They will know, like, and trust you because of your book. And that's a really great way to build your business, to build your brand, generate warm leads into your business. And you can nurture them from there and, yeah, offer what you have to offer and serve your people. Share the message that you want to share. And yeah, you can serve your people in that way.
Awesome. That's amazing. I love how you broke it down because when I wrote my book, it's a fiction book. It's for young adults. And I wrote it because of course I had this character that couldn't stop talking to me. And I had to write everything that the character was telling me. I just wrote it within like 3 months.
Oh
But
yeah, when the inspiration flows, it just flows, right?
yeah. I wrote that one in 3 months and then went on to write four more within that year time period. But those were novelists, those are the little ones. And you're right, bite size does work because I did notice the little small series that I had, the novelist series that I had, those sold better than my actual full on novel.
Yes, yes. And I have to say it's amazing that you wrote your book in 3 months. For some of my students who are in the self-publishing made simple community, we do have a 12-week challenge. And in that 12-week period, they write their books in 4 weeks. And by the 12th week, they would have published it and launched it to number one bestseller on Amazon. So it's actually possible for you to write your book within that short period, and especially for nonfiction writers, when you're actually giving information to your readers, it's actually easier to write it, especially if you are an expert in your field. You know exactly what you are writing about. And giving that information as quickly as possible. There are people who are waiting for that information to be given to them. They may be struggling in their life, and it might be that little bit of information that you are holding that could tip it for them, that could make that shift for them. And certainly for me, when I wrote my first book, it was called Change Your Life for Good. I wrote it with the intention to help those people who are stuck in their lives, who want to make that change, as if they're feeling stuck in a rut. I wanted to serve those people because I know what it feels like to be in that position. And for me, as a psychologist, I know strategies and techniques that I've learned over the years that I could share with people. And I was just driven by that. And certainly for many of my students, I have students who've been through life trauma. They've been through some challenges in their lives, and they want to share the message. They want to share that bit of inspiration to readers. And they don't want to take a year or 2 years to get their message out. If they can get their message out to those people who need to hear their message right now, self-publishing is a really great way to do that. And to make sure that your book becomes visible, that your book actually makes it on Amazon and competes well on Amazon, you really need to know what you need to do. You need to do your keyword research, your market research, have a launch strategy in place, and make sure that you have a team backing you up. So when you go into the Amazon marketplace, your book is going to make it and it's going to compete well on there. So it doesn't just drown in the ocean of books on Amazon. So your message gets out there, you serve your people, and you actually fulfill a deep sense of purpose as well through your books.
Hey there, let me guess. You want to start a podcast but don't have the time. I understand. Or you want to start a podcast but scared of the tech. I get it. Or you want to get started but don't know where to start. I hear you. Well, you're in luck, my friend, because I have a free Jumpstart Your Podcast guide that gives you a list of all the free tools I recommend. Plus, this helps you to organize your show notes, plan your episodes, plan those days you want to record for batching your content, and you get a checklist to make sure you check off all that is needed to get going and get started with podcasting. So what are you waiting for? Download the guide now and get started so your message can be heard. Just click the link in the show notes. I cannot wait to hear your first episode. I love it. So I know I'm jumping around here, but you mentioned about a 12-week challenge that you have. And I know it's not open right now because I did check out your website. But can you talk a little bit more about that? Like what it all entails in your challenge?
Of course, of course. Well, the 12-week challenge, it's called the Get It Done challenge. And I really mean it. When I say get it done, we really do try to get it done within that 12-week period. I only open it twice a year, one in January. So the January cohort is, we're currently in week 7. Oh no, we're in week 8 now. We're in week 8 in the January cohort, and the next cohort starts in June. But essentially, over that 12-week period, we go through the process of planning, writing, publishing, and launching your book to number one bestseller. So you don't just write a book for the sake of writing a book. At the early stages of the 12-week challenge, weeks 1 and 2 is all about understanding your purpose, knowing your why, knowing your audience. So before you even start writing your book, you are in that mindset of serving your people and understanding the market, knowing how you're going to position your book, so that when you publish your book, you are in a good position to compete on Amazon because you are serving your audience, you are tapping into the marketplace and knowing what your readers are looking for right now. So we do that in weeks 1 and week 2. We do our market research, we do our keyword research, we organize the outline together. So from weeks 3, 4, 5, and 6, that's the time when you write your book. You have a really clear understanding of your topic, how it's going to serve your audience, how you're going to position your book on Amazon. So when you start writing it, you are in that mindset of putting yourself in the perspective of your readers and with the intention of serving them. So that's what we do in the first half of the challenge. And in the second half, from weeks 7 to 12, that's where we shift gears and really put our publishing hat on. We try to organize your title and subtitle, making sure that it's something that would resonate well with your audience, something that will trigger the Amazon algorithm. This is something that I talk a lot with my students in the Self-Publishing Made Simple community. You have to do your keyword research and your market research and make sure that you put in high traffic, low competition keywords in your title, your subtitle, and in your book description, so that when people type in those keywords on the Amazon search bar, when they look for books on Amazon, your book is going to rank well. It's going to rank highly because you have included it in your metadata for your book. So that's one of the secrets of doing well on Amazon. If you do your keyword research and your market research right, you can have that advantage over other books because you are including those high traffic keywords in your title, your subtitle, and book description. So when people put those in the Amazon search bar, your book is going to rank well. I also teach my students about the book cover, how you could find a designer that will make your book pop on Amazon, how to do your category research, and really important, the launch sequence. You don't just hit the publish button, cross your fingers, and hope for the best. For my students, we spend an entire 6-week period preparing for the launch. So by the time you hit the publish button, you are ready. And all of my students, 100% of my students, actually make it to number one bestseller, particularly on their launch week. Not because they were lucky. Well, maybe they were lucky that they met me, but we actually do have a 6-week process that we follow. We have a launch sequence that we follow so that by the time you hit the publish button, your book is going to make it on Amazon and to get it to number one bestseller. Because when you have that number one bestseller badge on your author's page, it gives you that credibility. It positions you as an expert in your field and as a business owner. If, for example, you are a coach, or you are a therapist, or you are an online entrepreneur, a freelancer who wants to establish your brand, to build your brand and make an impact in this world. Publishing a book and launching it to number one bestseller on Amazon is a really great way to reach your audience, to do this and impact the world. So that's my 12-week challenge. I only open it to 35 cohort, 35 students per cohort, because we actually do meet every Friday. With it being the Get It Done challenge, you have the accountability and the support, making sure that you get things done. And if you are experiencing challenges, because we meet every week and we build a community, we do become friends. We normalize the challenges that you encounter. Writing can be an isolating experience. And by being in the Get It Done challenge, it becomes more like a journey with fellow authors and with a coach like me supporting you through the way to make sure that you actually do get it done and you successfully launch your book by the end of that process.
Wow. That's very intense.
Yes, I have to say it can get really intense, but for me, it's easier for me to just have an online course, get my students to sign up to the course and leave it there. For me, the Get It Done challenge, I offer it because I really do find it satisfying to meet my students every week, to have that group coaching session every week, just to make sure that they are going through that process, that they are getting things done, and they are getting the support that they need, whether it is them experiencing writer's block or whether it is them experiencing imposter syndrome. And I see this all the time. Even the best people in the world, they are experts in their field. They experience imposter syndrome, feeling as if they are frauds. I am there to support them, making sure that they overcome their limiting beliefs. And at the end of it, to get their message out, to get their books to number one bestseller on Amazon. And I find it absolutely satisfying to go through that journey with them. And it really, really truly makes me feel proud every time my students launch and hit that number one best-selling status when they get their books out there. So I absolutely love it. I feel so proud when my students finish the program. And yeah, we celebrate together when they hit the number one bestseller on Amazon.
Awesome. So is this a paid challenge or a free challenge?
I do offer a free 3-day challenge inside my self-publishing Made Simple community. So for people who are interested in this, the free 3-day challenge is available as a taster and also for me to see if we are a good fit. If my approach to self-publishing and if my approach to getting things done, if it matches your style. So if you want a taster, you can actually visit the Self-Publishing Made Simple community on Facebook. There is a free 3-day challenge in there just to get a sense of what it's like. It will help you to clarify what your book is about, get you started, to form your outline. And when my challenge reopens in June or in January, whichever cohort you want to take part in, at least you already have a really clear idea of what you want to write. And the 12-week challenge is a paid program, that I run twice a year.
Awesome. All right. So we're going to definitely link those in the show notes. Thank you so much for sharing. I know we kind of went off it, but I was like, hey, she has a challenge. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thanks for asking, Candice.
No problem. No problem. So is there any last minute advice you have for our listeners out there who maybe, want to write a book? I know you definitely gave a lot of value as to the reason why you should write a book. And now I'm rethinking it. I got to get my juices back flowing. But it's definitely something that I'm thinking about doing again in the future. But do you have any advice for our listeners out there?
Yeah, advice. Well, particularly for those who are thinking about writing a book and getting it out. I know that one of the common reasons why some aspiring authors stop themselves from getting their books out there is the fear. They are afraid that they're not good enough or they are afraid that they're going to fail. If you are in that mindset, I would encourage you to explore where those beliefs are coming from and really understand that if you have a message that is worth sharing with the world, if you know that the message you are holding can actually serve someone else and help someone else make that shift in their life, or if you are a business coach and you know that that piece of information that you are holding can help someone get their business to a place where they want to be, if you are holding on to that information and if it's only your self-doubt that's holding you back, always remember that your message could actually help someone else. And writing a book is a really great way to serve your audience. It's also a really great way to elevate your brand, to generate warm leads into your business, and to grow your brand by publishing a book. So you have to explore your doubts, you have to explore your limiting beliefs, and really understand that if it is the only thing that's holding you back, there are people who are waiting for you to get your message out. And if you can find it in yourself to have the courage to share your message with the world, go for it. Write your book, publish it. And if you haven't got a clue how to publish it and launch it to number one bestseller on Amazon, do check out the Self Publishing Made Simple community on Facebook. I'm there every week. I'm there live every Tuesday. If you have any questions and if you feel called to join our Get It Done challenge, yeah, it's a 12-week program that will help you to plan it out, to get your book done and launch it to number one bestseller on Amazon. So yeah, go for it. If you are being paralyzed by fear, find the courage to get it out. There are people waiting for your book. And when you get it out, I mean, you'll feel so fulfilled that you've done that particular purpose. You serve your audience, you're impacting the world, and it's just the most amazing feeling.
Awesome. Sounds great. So, where can everyone find you?
Yes. Well, the easiest way to find me is on Facebook. So I do have a free self-publishing made simple community. It's a community for aspiring authors and actually successful authors. I do have a lot of self-publishing made simple graduates in there. So we share good practice. We challenge our limiting beliefs. We keep each other accountable. So all you have to do is, search Self-Publishing Made Simple Community on Facebook. And that's the easiest way to find me. I go there live every Tuesday for my Ask Me Anything Tuesdays. And yeah, certainly if you want to ask me anything about writing, self-publishing, and launching your book on Amazon, that's the place to be.
Awesome. We'll definitely link those up in the show notes. Well, Emee, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Well, I really appreciate it, Candice, and I hope that your listeners will find value from our conversation today.
Yes, I'm pretty sure they will. I did. I definitely did.